Jesus took Peter, James, and John up the mountain to pray. Jesus takes each one of us up the mountain to pray, up to a transfiguration. The British monk, Benedictine monk, B. Griffin, tells the story when he was a young boy that he heard the birds singing like he never heard them sing before. And he saw the blooms on the tree blossoming the way that he never saw them before. There was a transfiguration for him. It set the tone for his whole life. He'd become a man of prayer that stretched from Europe to Asia. The Cardinal Avery Dulles, when he was 16 years old, was at Harvard University, an agnostic. And after spending some time in the library at Harvard, he walked out in the springtime and he saw the budding of flowers on the tree. And when he saw that, it struck him so much that it changed his whole life. That night, he prayed for the first time. We see it so often. Paul Claudel, French poet, diplomat. He was an agnostic at the time. They told him to go to Notre Dame Cathedral in Paris to observe the art there. And on Christmas in 1886, he went to midnight mass. And he looked around at the art and the ritual, and he was not impressed. But that afternoon, he went back. They were having Vespers at the cathedral. And when they were singing the Magnificat, something happened to him. Somehow he discovered there is a God. And it's a personal God who loves me. And Paul Claudel's life was changed. The director of a house of prayer in St. Louis, Father Richard Hayes, says that we can have a transfiguration experienced anywhere. We can have it in our automobile. Turn off the radio. Drive in silence. Listen. And finally, Jesus will take you to a special place. John of the Cross was so impressed with the love that his mother and father had for each other. It set the tone for his whole life. From the love of mom and dad for each other, he realized this was a reflection of the love of Jesus for each soul. Yes, we can have a transfiguration in ordinary experiences. We can have it in extraordinary ones too. But thirdly, we can have them in difficult situations. Francois Marillac, he describes about how his life, somewhat of a negative life in a way, can be described by Blaise Pascal's words, "I would never have found thee had thou not sought me, frustrating all my designs. Mariac would talk about how there are some desires in life that will never be realized. That life is a desert in which things do not happen. Yes, we are led at times to nowhere where nothing is to be found. It can be in our addictions, in our depressions, in our low points in life, that Jesus will lead us not up the mountain to a transfiguration, but Jesus will come down into our disability, into our addiction, and lift us up to a transfiguration. There's another story in Mariac's life when he met Gabriel Marcel, who was 40 years old at the time, and he said to Gabriel, "You should become one of us." And when Gabriel Marcel heard that, "You should become one of us," it wasn't as if Mariac was speaking to him. It was as if God himself was speaking to him. And he came back to the church. Jacques Maritain speaks about how God comes to us through our spiritual unconsciousness. We're not even aware of it. But somehow through our spiritual unconsciousness, God draws us to himself. But for that to happen, we somehow have to dispose ourselves to be in a situation where it happens. And how we dispose ourselves is to spend some time in silence. Be silent. Be still. And listen. We do that by saying a mantra. Kyrie eleison. Kyrie eleison. Or some other mantra, Maranatha. Or simply Jesus or love. Over and over again for 20 minutes. Nothing was going to happen, but sooner or later, maybe not when you're praying or you're being silent, God will speak to you. He will bring you to a transfiguration where you'll hear in one way or another that God loves you uniquely as you are, wherever you are. Even if you're at the top of the mountain in joy, or at the bottom of the valley in depression, whether you are good or evil, God loves you. And that love, your experience of it, is Jesus taking you to the transfiguration.